Hello student, this is Darasa Online. My name is Edgar Mshana. I'm teaching basic mathematics. Today we have the topic of functions. In this topic we are going to see how to find the inverses of a function. We are going to see some examples concerning inverse of a linear function, but again quadratic functions and rational functions. So dear student, join with me till the end of this presentation. Welcome. So, dear student, we are starting with the inverse of a linear function. I'm sure you remember the form of a linear function. So, a linear function, we are saying a linear function, that is a linear function is any function written in the form of f of x is equal to ax plus b. That is the form of a linear function. Our interest here to find the inverse of a linear function. Now, suppose our interest is to find the inverse of this function. That is, suppose we want to find the inverse of f of x is equal to ax plus b. There are some important procedures to follow so that to find the inverse of f of x is equal to ax plus b. Of course, here a and b are constants. A is the coefficient of variable x, while b is a constant. Now, here there are important steps. Number one, of course, here we let f of x is equal to variable y. But in the second step, we say interchange the variables. That is, say interchange the variables. In this case, we have two variables, x and y. So you interchange these variables. So then third, we say make y the subject. That is the third step. Then after making y the subject, then we have the inverse of the given function. Now, my dear student, let us see a function f of x is equal to ax plus b. Let us see how to find the inverse of this function. That is given f of x is equal to ax plus b. So here we let f of x is equal to y. That is, let f of x is equal to y. Now in this case, we have y is equal to ax plus b. I'm sure you remember the second step. That is to interchange the variables. So here we're having two variables, x and y. So in this case, we say interchange x and y. That is, x is equal to ay plus b. Then again, remember the third step, that is make y the subject. So that is make y the subject. So in this case, we have ay is equal to x minus b. So on dividing by a from both sides, we have y is equal to xc minus b over a. So in this case, the inverse of our function will be equals to xc minus b over a. You can see how these steps are few, but again, the process is very simple. Now let us see the first question. That is our first question. We have given the function f of x is equal to 5x plus 7. Then find f of x inverse and f of inverse 17. So solution, I'm sure remember all the steps. That is, let f of x, this is equal to y. In this case, y is equal to 5x plus 7. The next step, you interchange the variables. That is, interchange x and y. So in this case, we have x is equal to 5y plus 7. Then make y the subject. Make y the subject. That is 5y will be equals to x minus 7. So in this case, we divide by 5. That is, divide by 5 from both sides. That is, 5y over 5 is equal to x minus 7 over 5. So in this case, we have y is equal to x minus 7 over 5. But you are looking for the inverse of the function. That is f of x inverse. This is equal to x minus 7 over 5. My dear student, I'm sure we are together. So the next question is to find f inverse of 17. That is b. This one was a. That is to find f inverse of 17. So in this case, we are using, that is using f of x inverse is equal to x minus 7 over 5. So we substitute 17 in our inverse of the function. So that is, on substituting, we have f of x, that is we have f of 17 inverse. This is equal to So 17, that is x. So we have 17 minus 7 divided by 5. So in this case, take 17 minus 7. So this one is equal to 10, then over 5. So the answer is equal to 2. That's 10 divided by 5. The answer is 2. Therefore, f of 17 inverse, this is equal to 2. That was the first question. Now let us proceed with the second question. So students, this is your second question. That is, if f of x is equal to 3x minus 4, find A, f of x inverse, and B, sketch the graph of f of x inverse. So in this case, starting with the A, remember we let f of x is equal to y. That is, let f of x is equal to y. So in this case, y is equal to 3x minus 4. The second step, we interchange the variables. That is, interchange x and y. In this case, of x is equal to 3y minus 4. So we make y the subject. That is, make y the subject. That is, 3y is equal to x plus 4. Now, to make y the subject, we divide by 3 from both sides. So here, just divide by 3, divide by 3. So in this case, that is y is equal to x plus 4 over 3. But remember, f of x is equal to y. Therefore, f inverse of x is equal to x plus 4 over 3. Now that is A. Now B, we are supposed to sketch the graph of f of x inverse. That is, to sketch the graph, we are supposed to prepare the table of values. That is, table of values for f of x inverse x plus 4 over 3. That is, so dear students, suppose these are the values of x. Now we are looking for the values of f of x inverse. Of course, we call that is y. Or that is, say, y equal to f of x inverse. So we substitute negative 10 in our f of x inverse. That is negative 10 plus 4. That is negative 6. Over 3, we have negative 2. We proceed with negative 7. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. Over 3, that is negative 1. Then for negative 4 plus 4 over 3, that is 0. The next is negative 1 plus 4, that's 3 over 3. Then we have 1. Then when x is equal to 0, that will be 4 over 3. Then when it is 2, that is 2 plus 4, that is 6 over 3. This one is equal to 2. Then we have 5. That is 5 plus 4, it is 9. 9 over 3, this one is equal to 3. So, dear students, use this table to sketch the graph of f of x inverse. So you prepare XY plane. So dear student, this is our XY plane. So in this case, these are the numbers. So the coordinate, the first coordinate, that is x is negative 10, y is negative 2. So that is negative 10, comma, negative 2. So that is to be that one. So at this point, that is negative 10, comma, negative 2. Now the next coordinate, in this case, negative 7, comma, negative 1. That is negative 7 by negative 1. So in this case, it will be somewhere here. So this is our second coordinate, that is negative 7, comma, negative 1. The next coordinate is negative 4, comma, 0. So that is negative 4, comma, 0. That is x is negative 4, y is equal to 0. The next, dear student, is negative 1, comma, 1. That is x is negative 1, while y is 1. That is negative 1 to be there. That is negative 1, comma, 1. And the next is 0, comma, 4 over 3. That is the same as 1 and 1 over 3. So that would be somewhere here. Okay? Since it is a sketching, no problem. So again, we have 2, comma, 2. That is x is 2, while y is 2. So in this case, my dear student, the coordinate will be there. And the last coordinate is 5, comma, 3. That is x is equal to 5 when y is equal to 3. That is 5, comma, 3. In this case, the coordinate will be there. Now it is time to draw our graph. That is the inverse of f of x, which is the same as f of x inverse is equal to x plus 4 over 3. So, dear student, this is our graph. Make sure that you use a ruler and a pencil to draw such kind of a graph because it is a straight line. Now, this is our graph. I'm sure, dear student, we are together in this case. And now, let us proceed with another type of function. This time, we have a quadratic function. We are going to see how to find the inverse of a quadratic function. So the first question, of course, this is our first question for the inverse of the quadratic function. That is given f of x is equal to x squared, then find f of x inverse, and then sketch it as a graph. In this case, starting with A, now our function is f of x is equal to x squared. So in this case, say let y is equal to f of x. That is y is equal to x squared. Then I'm sure you remember the procedures of finding the inverse of a function. We interchange the variables. So here we say interchange x and y. That is x is equal to y squared. Then we make y the subject. That is make y the subject. So in this case, y is equal to plus or minus square root of x. Therefore, f of x inverse is equal to plus or minus the square root of x. Now, that is A, my dear student. Then the next question is to sketch the graph of f of x inverse. Now let us see how to sketch the graph. So that is B. Prepare the table of values for f of x inverse is equal to plus or minus the square root of x. So in this case, prepare a table like this. It is x. Of course, y is equal to f of x inverse. So starting with the 0. So in this case, the square root of 0 is 0. So that is 0. Then suppose the next is 1. Again, the square root of 1, that is 1, but this one is plus or minus. That is plus or minus 1. Then suppose the next is 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. So again, that is plus or minus 2. Then suppose we take 9. Again, the square root of 9, that is 3. So in this case, it's plus or minus 3. Again, for 16, it will be plus or minus 4. Now, that is our table of values. We can use that table to sketch the graph of the inverse function that is equal to plus or minus square root of x. So the graph of f of x inverse is equal to plus or minus square root of x. Okay, now by using this xy plane, it is possible to sketch the required graph. Now, starting with 0, 0. So that will be 0, 0 to be at the origin, that is 0, 0. The next is x is 1, while y is plus or minus 1. That is for 1. There will be a coordinate here, but again, in the opposite side, somewhere there. Then when x is equal to 4, y is plus or minus 2. So 4, that is plus or minus 2. It will be that way. That is when x is 4, then y is 2, but again, y is negative 2. Then when x is 9, we have plus or minus 3. That is 4, 9. Dotted line this way. It will be there. But again, opposite side of y, it will be there. And again, we have when x is 16, y is plus or minus 4. So for 16, that is for 16, y is plus or minus, that is minus 4. So then it is time to sketch our graph. So in this case, so, dear student, you can see the nature of our graph. So that is the inverse of the given quadratic function. So make sure that you name this graph. That is f of x inverse. This is equal to plus or minus square root of x. Now I'm giving you a task. Try to test this if it is a function or not a function. This is a task I'm giving you. Try to discuss with your friend and make sure that you state whether this inverse is a function or not a function. So, dear student, we proceed with another question. So, student, this is the second question. That is, find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to 1 minus x squared, and from it determine the value of f of inverse of 0. So in this case, that is given, we have f of x is 1 minus x squared. That is, let f of x is equal to y. In this case, y is equal to 1 minus x squared. So interchange variables, that is x is equal to 1 minus y squared. Then from there, make y the subject. That is y squared is equal to 1 minus x. So y will be equals to plus or minus square root of 1 minus x. F of x inverse is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus x. So now we are supposed to find f of 0 inverse. So in this case, x is equal to 0. So that is plus or minus square root of 1 minus 0. So in this case, f of 0 inverse is equal to plus or minus 1, because 1 minus 0 is 1 square root of 1, that is equal to 1. So the next part, that is inverse of a rational function. A rational function is any function that can be written in the form of f of x is equal to 1 over ax plus b. There should be a denominator. Now let us see an example of finding the inverse in rational function. So students, here with the first example, that is if f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 5. Find A, f of x inverse, B, domain and range of f of x inverse. So starting with A, that is given, f of x is equal to 2x minus 1 over 3x plus 5. The first step, just let f of x is equal to y. In this case, y is equal to 2x minus 1 over 3x plus 5. In this case, we interchange variables. That is, x is equal to 2y minus 1 over 3y plus 5. Then we need to make y the subject. So do cross multiplication. So that is 3yx plus 5x is equal to 2y minus 1. So collecting like terms together, that is 3yx minus 2y is equal to negative 5x minus 1. But here y is common. So y out of the bracket, that is 3x minus 2. Now this is equal to negative bracket of 5x plus 1. So in this case, that is y is equal to negative 5x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. Therefore, f of x inverse is equal to negative 5x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. So that is A. Now B, we are supposed to find domain and range. So that is B. Remember, for domain, we say the denominator of f of x inverse should not equals to 0. So in this case, the denominator is 3x minus 2. So that is 3x minus 2 is not supposed to be 0. That is not equal to 0. So 3x is not equal to 2 over 3 over 3. So x is not equal to 2 over 3. Therefore, we say domain, in this case, domain domain is equal to, we are talking about the x values, that x is not equals to 2 over 3. So we continue for range. That is using, let y is equal to negative 5x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. Now make x the subject. That is 3xy minus 2y is equal to negative 5x minus 1. So collecting like terms, 3xy plus 5x is equal to 2y minus 1. So x is common. We have 3y plus 5. This is 2y minus 1. So x is equal to 2y minus 1 over 3y plus 5. So again, in this case, the denominator is not equals to 0. That is, for range 3y plus 5 is not equals to, so in this case we have 3y is not equals to negative 5. So dividing by 3 from both sides, we have 3y not equals to negative 5. 3 over 3. Therefore, y is not equals to negative 5 over 3. In this case, range is equal to y such that y is not equals to negative 5 over 3. So, dear student, it is my hope that you are continuing enjoying this lesson of finding the inverse of the given function. Now let us have the last example, and then there will be assignment for you. So student, this is our second question. That is given f of x is equal to x over x plus 1. Now find f of x inverse and determine the domain and range. Now solution, that is given f of x is equal to x over x plus 1. So here you let f of x is equal to y. Now in this case, you say y is equal to x over x plus 1. Now interchange the variables. So we have x is equal to y over, that is y plus 1. So our intention is to make y the subject. So in this case, we have xy plus x is equal to y. Now collecting like terms, that is xy minus y is equal to negative x. So y out of the bracket, we have x minus 1 is equal to negative x. In this case, y is equal to negative x over x minus 1. Therefore, f of x inverse, this is equal to, that is negative x over x minus 1. So that is our inverse. Now, dear student, another case is to determine domain and range. I'm sure now you know how to find domain and range for rational function. So again, this one is an assignment for you. Try yourself or discuss with your friend so that you be able to find the domain and range. So my dear student, let us have a challenge question for you that will wind up this session. Now, students, suppose you have exponential function and you are supposed to find the inverse of this function. What are you going to do? I'm sure you know how to deal with the exponentials. That is when you are in Form 2. You discussed about exponents. But again, you discussed about the laws of logarithms. Now, let me share with you this question. Students, we follow the same steps. That is, let f of x that is equal to y. In this case, y is equal to 1 over 2 power x. Remember, we interchange variables. That is, x is equal to 1 over 2 power y. Now our interest is to make y the subject. Remember, our interest is to make y the subject. Now, since this one is in exponential, then we can introduce logarithms from both sides. That is introduce logarithm to base 10 from both sides. So in this case, we have, that is, log x is equal to log a half, that is power y. Now, according to laws of logarithms, that is log x is equal to y log half. Now, making y the subject, that is y is equal to log x That is over log a half. Now remember, that is but log a to base b, this one is the same as log a over log b. That is according to laws of logarithms. So in this case, we say y is equal to log xc base a half. Therefore, f of x inverse will be equals to log of xc to base a half. So dear student, this is the assignment for you. The first question, given that g of x is equal to 3x plus 5, find g of x inverse. But the second question is given that f of x is equal to x squared plus 3, find a, f of x inverse, but again domain and range of f of x inverse. So dear student, till next time, have a good time. Bye.